Parker reached in his pocket and produced $5. "Morton and I would like to offer you something to tide you over a while." Morton appeared surprised. "Wouldn't we, Morton?" Parker said, eyeing him sternly. Morton hesitated, but eventually stood up and rifled through his coat for his billfold, where he managed to dig out $10, which he placed on the bench beside the 5 Parker had produced. "I would ask one more favor," Parker added. "I wonder if you'd allow Morton and I to walk down there to the river for a few moments before we go?" "Well, I don't see as how that would hurt anything," she replied. After a short walk, with Morton following, Parker got his first good look at the Peace River. The sun was setting, but there remained enough light to show a slow but steady current of black water cutting through the countryside between banks that ranged from 4 to 6 feet high. A crowd of palm trees and twisted oaks seemed to elbow each other for space along the sandy banks. Parker started making his way down the bank. "Are you going in there?" Morton asked. "It'll be dark soon." "Just a little ways." "Well, I'm not coming down there in that sand and mud," Morton declared. "I paid almost $8 for these boots. I can see just fine from right here. What are you looking for, anyway?" Parker was not quite sure. He slipped his boots and socks off and worked his way through calf-deep, cool water until he reached a sandbar. Perhaps this was the one Skarvo had visited with Arthur Nobles, or at least one like it. He turned around and faced Morton, scanning up and down the bank. There were saw palmettos interspersed among the trees lining the shoreline, and some of them stretched maybe 15 yards until they reached the pasture land. But Parker could not figure out how there was enough of the plants to justify the kind of offer this landowners' league had made to nobles. And recalling what he had read in Skarvo's notebook, he knelt on the sandbar and examined the rocks that looked just like the samples he had found in Skarvo's satchel. It occurred to him that none of this was about cattle or palmetto plants or tannic acid. "Are you done yet?" Morton shouted. "We need to be heading back before it gets any darker." Parker emerged from the river, rubbed his wet feet against his pants legs to dry them, put on his socks and boots, and the two of them made their way back to the carriage. Morton lit a coal oil lantern and hung it on the carriage, then took the reins and started them back toward Arcadia. "We've fannied around and let it get dark," he whined. "It's going to take longer to get back. Did you find what you were looking for down there?" The sound of the horses' hooves against the road and the clatter of the carriage was punctuated by the who cooks for you of a barred owl exhorting in the distance. "Maybe," Parker said, folding his arms and leaning back in the seat. "Maybe so." "Well, aren't you going to tell me?" Morton said. "We'll know more after tomorrow." Parker lowered his bowler and closed his eyes. "Keep this rig out of the ditches.